Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners across the pond in Latin America, as well as Paris, France, and of course, you good old boys in South America. You know we love you in Canada. We also love the Big C tribe. In fact, I saw something on CNN about the pyramids since we've been talking about Big C sports. But Big C, there's still nothing we love more than the good old boys down south and the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for all you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, we're getting over that hangover from that big party going on in Texas. So
Yeah.
now we got to move. I guess we have to go down to Tuscaloosa. The next big party in Alabama.
Yeah.
The South has it rocking this week. You know, we have the #1 teams in college football. We have the #1 team in professional baseball. Charlton.
Yeah.
Everything's good on the home front.
Well, that's always good in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Today is a beautiful November the 3rd, 2017, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. I do want to tell you this segment is sponsored by the Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, I know they had a lot of things going on in the world of sports, and again, the Big C World Series, the Big California World Series for you good old boys that don't understand everything's following C. And congratulations to the Houston Astros, bringing the championship down to the great state of Texas with all the challenges they've had down there in Houston. So I know a lot of fans. This is something that you have. It's like having the first time you get that dream job, or the first time you get that dream car, or whatever you're looking for. Big C, what does it mean for the good old boys down in Texas to finally have someone they can call a champion? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, such an uplifting event for a state, for a city, for a community. I mean, to have the championship resume.
Yeah.
I know as a player how it feels, and I know being in that parade where you're going downtown and everybody's taking off from lunch and coming out and throwing out a ticket tape and cheering you on, Charlton. It's a wonderful feeling. I mean, it's an out-of-body experience. And for fans who have gone through this hardship in the Houston region, Charlton, to have this brought back, not just to Houston, but the state of Texas, Charlton.
Yep.
There hasn't been a championship won in the state of Texas since the Dallas Mavericks. But all the championships, since that, were won by the Cowboys, and prior to that, the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
But now the Astros have brought something back to the city that had been long awaited, and being in baseball, because everyone understands the game of baseball, Charlton, from, when you first start off and you get that first bat and glove from your mom and dad on a Christmas day, Charlton, that you never let it down, and you go out in the street. I mean, you got kids playing baseball in the streets. You don't need a diamond, you just need, hopefully not to break the neighbor's window out. That's all.
That's funny.
And all of us have done that. And nobody did it.
Yeah.
But, to have this marvelous event bring such joy to the region down there, Charlton, after they suffered that catastrophic hurricane. And, and this will hopefully ease some of the pain that people have felt. It's not for just a moment, Charlton. Ease just a little bit of the hardship that they've endured, and let them resonate in this big, huge victory of the Astros.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So congratulations to Houston. And we know a lot of people are already looking forward to next year. And it's great when you can win something now and you're looking forward to next year. And the Astros will definitely be strong for several years to come. They will be challenged over in the American League by the New York Yankees, which are also, a lot of people thought that next year would be their year. You also look at Boston, which would have a good team. And I don't even count out the Anaheim Angels. They're always able to swing the bats. In the National League, you look at the Dodgers picked to win it all next year by the good old boys down in Las Vegas. I don't know how Las Vegas knows who's going to win what. I'm still trying to find that guy who put $15 million down. I hear he won. So who knows what kind of inside information he had. Maybe he saw Hu Darvish pitching to the inside game too, tipping his pitchers or whatever he was tipping. And then next year again, the Cubs are looking strong. Don't know what's going to happen with Washington. I know they're talented, but they got rid of a good manager in Dusty Baker. So a lot of good things happening in the world of baseball. But Big C, I want to ask you one thing, and maybe it's a stupid thing to ask, but it won't be the first time that I've said something stupid on the Big C Sports Show. Why would some guy propose? Yeah. Well, I want to ask you. It is Hollywood. Now, if anybody's going to propose to his fiance or girlfriend or whoever she was, at the ending of a baseball game, I think it's grandstanding. I know a lot of people think it's romantic, but just give me your thoughts on why any woman would say no to a guy who's going to be worth about $25 million, Big C, on national TV. Your thoughts?
Over $25 million a year, Charles.
Yep.
Not just $25 million. No one's going to walk away from that scenario. I mean, you got as far as making a proposal.
Yeah.
You always like for that to be in an intimate, personal setting.
Yeah.
To grandstand on the world stage and say, hey, let's do this. But, you also got to blame the network television.
Yeah.
Because they made, a spectacle of it. Leave that little bit of privacy and irony just to the couple. I mean, it's nice that the people in the stadium get to see it, but to blare it out all over the world, you're looking for ratings is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well make a reality TV show out of it, talking about, because everything has become that now.
Yeah.
And so they've set themselves up for a reality TV show. You make a proposal on national television after winning the World Series. It used to be I'm going to Disney World.
Yeah.
Okay? Now I'm going on a honeymoon after winning a championship. So, I mean, it's gone far-fetched from what it originally was set out to be, after the post-game ceremony with the players. And then that's a personal time for the players, Charlton, when you think about it. This is the last time that you'll ever be with that group of guys.
Yeah.
When you win a championship, Charlton, it is the last time that you will ever win a championship with that group of guys.
Yeah.
And people say, well, how do you say that? You look at any championship team. I don't care whether it's baseball, basketball, football, hockey, tiddlywinks, badminton.
Yeah.
When you come back the next year, everybody's not there.
No.
They replace 10, 12 players on a football team every year.
Yep.
So there's going to be guys that are not there. You look at the Patriots that won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
Look how many people that Bill Belichick replaced.
Yeah.
You look at the Golden State Warriors, Charlton. That team was not intact at the start of this season from last year's championship team.
Yeah.
Even the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
They lost several players from their championship team, Charlton. Even the Pittsburgh Penguins from the year before.
Yeah.
In winning the NHL Stanley Cup. Replaced players.
Yeah.
So when you look at this, you have to take in every moment of it because you will never be with that particular group of guys again. So it's a once-in-a-lifetime event. Just like your championship ring, there's only one that looks like that.
Well,
it's a once-in-a-lifetime event that you'll be with that group of guys.
Yeah, and I don't want to be someone who rains on anybody's parade, no pun intended, but Eddie Murphy told us a long time ago when he made the movie Coming to America, Eddie, I want half. Get a prenuptial agreement no matter how much in love you are. When you're worth $35 million or $25 million a year, everybody will say, I do, Big C. That's just my opinion. Maybe it's not good advice to hear nationally, but it's better to hear it before as opposed to after. Would that be salient advice, Big C, or should we just believe in love at first? $35 million buys you a lot of love. Is that what the good old boys told us back in the day?
It's very rare that you find anyone, of status nowadays without a prenup.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your lawyers negotiating the prenup.
I hope this young man knows that.
I guess they could have been Yasiel Green, for the second time.
Yeah.
Having your house broken in, to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they take $1.5 million worth of jewelry. I guess it would be better, marrying somebody. At least you get some return on the investment.
Yeah.
By being there. But, Yasiel gets ripped off for the second time. Last year gets ripped off for $500,000.
Wow.
This year he gets ripped off for $1.5 million. Now, tell me something, Charlton.
Yeah.
You got $170,000 of jewelry in your house.
How much?
$170,000 worth of jewelry. You don't even have a World Series ring.
No.
Why not take $2,000 or $3,000 and buy a safe? Okay. At least you'll get one less diamond. Okay.
Yeah.
Take $2,000 or $3,000 and buy a safe to keep your stuff in. Just don't leave it on the dresser.
Yeah.
Yasiel hasn't learned yet, but you got to think about it. If you get robbed last year during the playoffs and you move from the house that you were in, and you move to another part of the city, and you get robbed again late in the game when they know where you are, you got to think these people know you.
Yeah.
Because if that's your first house, that is your second house. These are what you used to call your friends.
Yeah, well, it's funny because out here in L.A., everybody knows that Los Angeles is a land of make-believes, but people get married divorced every 2 or 3 years. Most people trade in a new car every 3 or 4 years, except for you guys get them every 2 years down south, Big C. But in California, and I think the irony is, here's a guy, he says he's in love, right? What woman wouldn't love him if he was worth $35 million a year or 25, whatever it is? but get the prenup agreement first before you have the woman say I do. That's just learn the hard way. What did Tiger Woods give up $150 million to somebody because she broke out his Escalade? Who else? POTUS have to do what? POTUS got married 3 or 4 times. He's still paying those checks out to people that he said I do to way back in the day. I hope the young man gets some good advice, because there are a lot of people who will say I love you even though they don't know you outside of being an athlete. And I got to say one more thing, because I'm pro whatever, and I don't care if people appreciate it or not. But when I hear somebody say, hey, when they're focused on baseball, that's all they care about. But you know what? Go get yourself some legal advice before you do something that you can't erase. Big C, that make any sense at all?
Well, you always have to protect yourself, right? Even when you're walking outside going to the mailbox, you gotta look both ways. You never know what might blindside you. and in the relationship world, like you talk about, you guys out there in California.
I want half, Eddie. I want half. Yeah.
No one stays long enough for the cup of coffee to get cold. So, hopefully in the state of Texas, where they do things bigger, this will be a big, long relationship.
Well, I do want to say this too. Even Mariah Carey, she was saying, the great actor, the great singer with the great voice, it gets a little scratchy at the top of the nose, Big C, but she says she got robbed. And you just brought up a good point. How do you get robbed if you're a multimillionaire? You have house guards, you got bodyguards, you got security. It's somebody you know. It's not somebody off the street that's waiting for you to leave home. You got safe. You got everything, all the best security in the history of the world, in the history of the universe, and you're being robbed. You're being robbed by somebody who knows where your stuff is. Big C, does that make any sense, or am I just naive, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you think about it. You got $1.5 million worth of jewelry in your house. You don't have
Why?
Yeah. You don't have motion detectors in your house. You don't have window guards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the basic necessity of just a medium-class neighborhood.
Yeah.
You buy a home security system.
Yep.
If you're an athlete, you're driving, 6-figure cars around. Okay?
Yeah.
You're not parking those on the street, for somebody to come by and time swipe them. You gotta have a security system. But even so, you gotta have a safe.
Yeah.
I can't see somebody selling him house insurance, okay?
Yeah.
I really can't. They're gonna protect you more than anybody else. Whoever you have, Farmers, State Farm, whatever, Prudential.
Yep.
They gotta go in and say, look, okay, what's the deal here, Yasiel? You got robbed last year for $500,000.
Yeah.
And there's no force entry. You get robbed again this year for $1.5 million.
Yeah.
You don't have a security system.
Yep.
You don't have a safe in your house. This don't even smell right.
Okay?
You lay a fish in the sun too long, and I've done that.
Yeah.
I throw one of them.
Yeah.
And I turned around. I couldn't figure out what was wrong, but it was smelling bad. It smelled like robbery and stuff.
Yeah, that's funny. Hey, that good old boy down in Atlanta for the Julio Jones. Remember, he said he lost a $150,000 earring in some lake, and he was paying $5,000 reward for some good old boys to go retrieve it. No one's ever heard of that earring again. Have you heard of that earring being found, Big C? Your thoughts?
That old dumb jock analogy talking. Julio personified that when he offered somebody $5,000 for a $150,000 ring. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's incredible. But anyway, all's fair in love and war. But I think who's a Andrea Jolie, and and then Brad Pitt. They were all in love. I mean, everybody's in love in L.A. And then 5 years later, they got traded in just like the new car. So all the young athletes, these nouveau riche people, and I'm not being cynical. I'm saying for the women too. When you come into that kind of money, I think Ike and Tina Turner told us, what's love got to do? I know she sang it better than me, Big C, but I hope these young... Yeah. What's love? What's love got to do with it? I want half. Eddie Murphy told us first. But anyway, I hope they're all happy in love and all that good old boy stuff. Big C, in the world of college football, I know we had a huge games last weekend with Alabama, waiting to see if they're going to be replaced. It's funny, Nick Saban said he doesn't care about the rankings, and the rankings said, okay, we'll make you number 2. And so I'm sure that made Georgia happy. But Ohio State, they bounced back with a big win over Penn State. And then out on the West Coast, USC got a win over Arizona State when we thought they'd fall. And then there's a lot of other things going on in the country. So we'll run down some college football and just get your thoughts on what's going on in that neck of the woods. And on Saturday, but before we even get there, UCLA 4-4, they're at Utah tonight, and that's on Fox Sports 1. Utah's favored by 6.5. I still hear a lot of good old boys saying that Josh Rosen will be the number 1 quarterback pick in the NFL draft. He is good, but is he number 1 material? Big C, your thoughts?
What is number 1 quarterback material in the NFL? I mean, we've looked the past couple of years. Has anybody started? I mean, when we saw the number 1 quarterback, Goff, he didn't play. We saw the number 1 quarterback this year, Trubisky, he didn't play. But when you look at it, if you're going to draft a quarterback number 1, Charleston, you got to be willing to put him in.
Yep.
The Pittsburgh Steelers put in Terry Bradshaw. Miami Dolphins put in, Dan Marino.
Yep.
And that list goes on and on over the years. Donovan McNabb played with the Eagles. But, you got to draft a guy because if you draft him and you've done all this evaluation of the player, don't you feel that he's ready to play?
You would think so.
Teams put in wide receivers, but generally they're African-American, so they're ready to play. They put in offensive tackle. Generally they're African-American, so they're ready to play. They put in defensive end. They're African-American, they're already ready to play. They put in cornerback. They're African-American, they're already ready to play. Linebackers the same thing, Charles. But you draft this white quarterback, number 1 overall, and you said, well, we got to take it through a developmental process. No one said that about Dak Prescott last year. He was ready to play, taken in the 4th round. Went out there, won Rookie of the Year. RG3 won Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago. So when you look at the difference, you saw what Deshaun Watson was doing. He's still Rookie of the Year, even though he's out the rest of the year. I don't care what Hunt does in Kansas City. They have to be co-rookies of the year. Because he set records in the games that he played. When you look at that, how is it that when you take an African-American quarterback early, that he can play, all right, as a rookie? Russell Wilson stepped in Seattle, took him to 2 Super Bowls. But all of a sudden, you got to put kid gloves on one of these young white quarterbacks when you draft and say, well, he needs the learning curve. Okay, why don't the rest of the NFL do what Dallas did? Get them to dumb down their defense for the quarterback.
That's funny. I thought that's funny.
I don't understand that. When you draft these kids, this is like, Shanahan talking about Garoppolo the other day. Saying, well, he may not play this year because we don't want to put him out there
and get him hurt.
with guys that don't have the talent to support him. You tell me in the next 5 years where is San Francisco going to get enough talent to support anybody, okay? This is a franchise that's in total disarray.
That's very true.
So if you don't put Garoppolo out there, he's a free agent at the end of the year. What good did it do to make the trade for him? Because if you don't pay him, somebody else is going to pay him because they all think because he came from New England, he can play. The thing about the trade that you made for Garoppolo, you made the trade for Garoppolo. You didn't make it for Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator in New England. And you didn't make it for the rest of the offensive players in New England.
And they might.
The system stayed in New England. Only thing that left was Jimmy Garoppolo. So the talent stayed behind.
I mean, so the talk of them trying to do whatever they can to get the chance to go at Rosen for the first pick in the NFL draft. We're going to see if Rosen can even win at Utah up in the little bit higher altitude for the good old boys from UCLA. Also on Saturday, one of the big games. It's not big because of the rankings. It's big for Wisconsin. They're number 5 in the country. They're 8-0 this season. They're at Indiana, which is only 3-5. That game is noontime on ABC Sports. Wisconsin's favored by 12.5. If they're going to stay in the national championship picture, they got to beat Indiana by more than 12.5. Imagine if Alabama went up in there and played Indiana, they probably would win by 4 or 5 touchdowns. Your thought on Wisconsin needing a bigger win than 13 points over Indiana, Big C?
Well, Charleston, I see that type of game coming from Wisconsin. Paul Chris is a wonderful coach up there in Bandit Country, Charleston. They have a dominant running game with a freshman running back who has about 1,200 yards on the season already. Wisconsin will handle Indiana. Indiana looked good at the beginning of the season against Ohio State in that opening game. And they were okay against Michigan. But, Wisconsin's a different horse. This is a big, powerful football team, Charleston. You talk about ground and pound. This is what they do. When you got an offensive line that averages about 320 pounds across the front, Charleston, you lean on people. And, your quarterback does some pedestrian work, but you got a running game that has just been powerful. You go back to Ron Dane winning the Heisman Trophy in Wisconsin. You think about Gordon, who's with the San Diego Chargers. You think about Bell, who was with the Broncos a few years ago. They have had running back after running back in Wisconsin. And, all the other running backs around the country get all the hype. All the guys do in Wisconsin year after year is turn out 14, 15, 1,600-yard seasons. And Paul Chris has this team on the verge, just like Barry Alvarez had when they went to back-to-back Rose Bowls, of getting to a significant point at the end of the season in the post-game playoffs.
That's another good point, Big C. Another big game up in the Big 10, Big 19, whatever they call it. Penn State suffering their first loss on the season at Ohio State last week, a 39-38 game that Ohio State came from behind. That's an emotional game for Penn State. Now, they beat up on Michigan the week before that, and then at Penn State, you could say they fell at Ohio State, but it was a game that could have gone either way, even though they were up early by 13 points. And now they're at Michigan State on the road, which is also 6-2 on the season. Penn State 7-1. That game is noontime on Fox Sports, and that game is on grass, unlike the AstroTurf last week. And you have Penn State favored by 8.5, which I think is pretty generous going into Michigan State being favored by 8.5, coming off of a loss. Does Penn State rebound and get back on top this week, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, the Antonio's boys lost last week, Charles, in the Northwestern.
Yeah.
So when you talk about an emotional game, this is a team that's coming in on a low, Michigan State.
Yeah.
You know, they went in, they were highly favored against Northwestern, but Pat Fitzgerald said, no, that's not happening this week.
Yeah.
And Northwestern took it to them. You look at Penn State's game, Charlton, there was a turnover that made the difference in that game on a kick.
Yeah.
That Ohio State returned for a touchdown. This was a game that I don't know if Penn State actually lost the game, Charlton. I know they didn't win. But I don't know if they lost the game. Ohio State didn't dominate them. They had a miraculous drive at the end of the game. Casey Barrett in the fourth quarter looked like a quarterback. You know, something that he didn't do last year against Michigan when they had an opportunity to just close out Michigan and, you know, without the luck of the draw at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But, you know, Penn State, when you look at the game that they played, their defense had a few kinks in it. But their offense was set. I mean, when you go out and you score 36, 38 points in the game, you normally don't expect to lose, especially in the Big 13 conference, whatever it is.
Yeah, Big 19, Big 17. I know they got it going on there. Another game down in your neck of the woods. Number 15, Auburn, 6-2. At Texas A&M, 5-3. At College Station, that game is on Saturday, noontime kickoff, ESPN, also on grass. Auburn's favored by 15 at Texas A&M. When Alabama didn't even win by double digits. You think that's generous, or is somebody injured at A&M? Your thoughts on Auburn going in a 15-point favorite is unheard of at A&M, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, A&M is one of those mystery teams, Dalton. You know, the games you expect them to be competitive in, they just seem to lack luster in them. And that was last week against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
You thought it would be a more competitive game. Mississippi State got up early. Texas A&M seems disinterested.
Yeah.
Auburn, on the other hand, you know, both of these teams are playing for their head coach's life.
Yep.
Because there's going to be some changes at the head coach position in the SEC. I don't know who teams are going to bring in because there's not a lot of great coaches out there looking for jobs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, their teams wouldn't be winning.
Yeah.
But, you know, Auburn just got rid of their athletic director. Normally when you bring in a new athletic director, you're looking to bring in your own people on every level. And so, you know, the basketball coach, Bruce Pearl, is going to be gone because he was part of that basketball for money scandal that was going on a couple of weeks ago, Charlton. So he will be out. So that will they be looking to replace the head coach of football?
That's a very good point.
Kevin Sumlin can rally his troops anymore down at A&M because there's so much chatter from outside the football program that players start to listen to it. They say that they're the best statement ever. Don't talk about it.
Just do it.
Through social media now, you make our players think that there's something that they're not.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening with so many of these college football programs. And Texas A&M is one of those places because the good old boys down in Texas like to talk.
Yeah.
And everybody likes to listen when somebody else is talking. And so players are not responding to the coach. They're responding to the chatter saying, well, the coach won't be here. Why do I have to worry about what he says and does? Every coach in college football should go talk to Kevin Sumlin.
Yeah.
They honestly should. I mean, Kevin Sumlin should go out on the circuit right now and speak to all these college coaches. He'd make more money.
Yeah.
So this is what you do when you got a disgruntled player who don't want to listen.
Yep.
Me on the professional rank, I put him on the practice squad.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
On the college rank, you talk about taking a scholarship. That's what you do.
Yeah, that's true. Also, we'll stay in the SEC. We have South Carolina 6-2. They're at number 2, Georgia, number 1, depending on what polls. Georgia's 8-0, and the Bulldogs, that kickoff is 3:30 on CBS Sports. They're also playing on the grass. Georgia's favored by 24.5 points over a South Carolina team that comes in 6-2. Do you think that's too many points for the Bulldogs, Big C? They might be reading the papers a little bit too much. Your thoughts, Big C?
No, Charles, this team is totally legit. But when you look at what they have done week in and week out, Charlton. They have gotten better and better and better. There's been no hiccups with this team. I mean, you look at how they dismantled Florida last week.
Yeah.
And you had a coach that was playing for his life. They didn't care. They took his life.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
They left him out high and dry. It was like skinning an alligator when they got through with that game.
I understand. And you guys would know what it's like to skin an alligator from what I understand, Big C.
Yeah, they make beautiful boots, man. I tell you.
I understand.
When you think about this running game of Georgia,
yeah.
And that's what makes teams dominant. We've seen that with Notre Dame in the past couple of weeks, how they beat up on some of the big boys.
Yeah.
And that's how Georgia beat up on Notre Dame with this run game, and they ran the ball often against Florida last week. This offensive line loves it. Any pro or college football offensive line loves to run the football, Charlton, because it's easier work for the offensive linemen versus pass protection.
Yeah.
And, when you look at what they've done in Georgia by developing this running game with this two-headed monster with Chubb and Murray, Charlton, they're just awesome.
Yeah. Now, they're a very good football team. We'll see if they can hold it up. We'll go back up to the Midwest, Big C, number 3, Ohio State, coming off of a big come-from-behind win against Penn State. They have to be feeling really good about themselves. They are going into Iowa, that's 5-3 on this season. That's been known to knock some teams off. Remember, Penn State got out of there with a close win. They also knocked off Michigan last year when they was rolling high. That game is 3:30 kickoff at ESPN. Again, artificial surf for this one. Ohio State's favored by 18 over a slow Iowa team, but a team that tends to play pretty decent on defense, at least at home. Big C, your thoughts on any letdown by the Buckeyes?
No letdown, Charlton. I mean, J.T. Barrett came off the best game of his career.
He's off the hook.
Penn State.
Yeah.
And so playing Iowa, this is a team that's looking ahead now. That's where Ohio State is. Iowa's hoping to keep the game close.
Yeah.
Ferentz will do all he can defensively to try to hold this Buckeye offense in check.
Yeah.
But they're going to come up way short in this game, Charlton. This is one of those games that Urban Meyer right now, he's like a shark. He tastes the blood in the water.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And so he's going to ride these ponies till they're ready to drop.
Well, we got another big game down south. Number 5, Clemson, 7-1 on the season at number 19, North Carolina State. They were just grew up by Notre Dame, and they're 6-2, North Carolina State. 3:30 kickoff on ABC Sports. That game was on grass, and Clemson's only favored by 7 after Notre Dame took North Carolina State out to the woodshed and put it on them, Big C. Is that point spread too small for Clemson going in there, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, everybody's waiting on Bryant, the quarterback from Clemson, to get completely healthy.
Yeah.
He's not been completely healthy. That's the reason why you don't have the huge margin. You don't have that mobility back at the pivot position, Charlton.
Yeah.
So it leads some speculators to say they may not be that complete of a team.
Yeah.
He's about a week or two away from being healthy, Charlton. It's hard to recover from that high ankle sprain.
Yep.
Plus, he came off of that concussion. But that defense with Clemson is just outstanding. North Carolina had risen in the rankings. They went into South Bend last week.
Yep.
And I think those were the guys that were looking at their press clips and saying that we're a lot better than what we were.
Yeah.
And was not ready for a team that was going to run the ball on them consistently like Notre Dame did.
Yeah.
Now, Clemson has a lot of speed in the backfield, so they can move the ball also. So that's the thing that North Carolina State has to be leery of, is that Clemson used Notre Dame's blueprint in this week's game.
Yeah, that's a good point, Big C. Speaking of Notre Dame, Wake Forest 5-3. They're at number 8, Notre Dame, depending on what poll. And Notre Dame 7-1 on the season. That game is 3:30 on NBC Sports. Notre Dame's favored by 14. Now, in the polls, they have them for the bowl picture in the top 4, and then some polls have them as low as number 8. I don't know how Notre Dame handles that. They're just going to keep running the ball until they find a way to win. Number 16, Iowa State 6-2 at West Virginia 5-3. Number 18, Stanford on the West Coast 6-2 at Washington State 7-2. That game is 3:30 on Fox. Artificial turf. Now Washington State's favored by 2.5. I haven't been that impressed with Washington State losing the way they were blown out at Arizona and the way they just were blown out by Cal. Here's Stanford coming back on the upswing. And Falk, since he hurt his hand at Cal, they haven't been the same team. Your thoughts on Stanford going up there in the Great Northwest with a running game that can control the clock, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Lum has been on the gimp a little bit, Charlton, for Stanford, the nation's leading rusher. But
Yeah.
they expect him to play this weekend and be pretty close to 90%
Yeah.
in this game. But what's really going to hurt Stanford, Charlton, I know Falk has been laboring since he hurt his hand a few weeks ago at Cal.
Yeah.
But Stanford was out there starting quarterback. They have to start a redshirt freshman this week.
Yeah.
And so this is his first college start in a big game the Cardinals really need to stay in the conference championship race.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a challenge. You got a quarterback that started off the hottest quarterback in the country versus a kid who's getting his first start.
Yep.
But Love could be the equalizer.
Yeah.
Could be the best running back in college football that nobody here on the East Coast gets a chance to see, Charles.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You're going to go down to the Southwest Big C, number 9, Oklahoma. They're 7-1 on the season. The only loss is to, Iowa State. It's a shocker. You're still seeing that Oklahoma lost to Iowa State. I think they've won like 27 to 30 times they played. And they're at number 10, Oklahoma State, 7-1. That game's a 4 o'clock kickoff on Fox Sports 1 on artificial turf, so you know it's going to be a fast game. Oklahoma State's favored by 2.5. I think that's even generous, giving Oklahoma the chance to stay within a touchdown of OK State with their passing game. Big C, your thoughts on Oklahoma at Oklahoma State?
So we saw an exciting game last week at the Big House in Columbus, Ohio. This game, I feel, should be just as equally as exciting.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about this game here has the best matchup of quarterbacks in college football that you'll see this year.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Rudolph and Baker Mayfield. Between these two quarterbacks, Shelton, thus far this season, they passed for 5,500 yards between the two of them.
Yeah.
Rudolph is the nation's leading passer. Baker Mayfield ranks about 8th or 9th in the country in yards. So we're looking at putting the ball in the air between these two times, Charlton, in excess of 100 times.
Yeah.
This will be a game where you see defensive backs leaning over with their tongues hanging out, looking for a water bottle.
Yeah, that's very true.
I love games like this in college football because it doesn't even give the fans a chance to sit down.
Yeah.
You'll buy the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge and bedroom.
Yeah.
Because this will be the best passing matchup that you'll see all year long in college football.
Yeah, very good. Two good quarterbacks going at it. Want to pay homage to the academies. Army 6-2 at Air Force 4-4. That game is at 3:30 kickoff, and that's at Air Force is favored by 6.5 in that game. Oregon State 1-7 at Cal Berkeley, 4-5 on the West Coast. Nevada at Boise State. Boise State still trying to hang in there in the Mountain West, and we have. I want to go back down to your neck of the woods, Big C. You talk about eating alligators and what they call alligator tailgating parties that the good old boys do down south. Well, you might find some alligators and tigers on the barbecue because you have number 20 LSU at 6-2, at number 1 Alabama 8-0. They're ranked number 2 depending on what stupid poll you believe in. That's called that fake news poll. They number 2, but that's a game at 8 o'clock on CBS Sports. It's played on grass. Alabama's favored by 21.5. From what I understand, them good old boys might be trying to barbecue some lion at that game, Big C, or at least some tiger. Your thought, Big C?
Well, Charles, this has been one of those games that's been either a great game or a blowout the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Les Miles couldn't find a way to get it done. And all the pressure now is on Orgeron. There was so much expectation at the beginning of the season that LSU would turn this program around.
Yeah. Coming
into this game at 6-2 versus Alabama, and Alabama is, let me put it in a southern term right now, they're pissed, okay? That's where Alabama is right now. They're pissed off.
Yeah.
Because they dropped in the polls and they hadn't lost.
They hadn't lost.
Yeah. So I also think the posters do that as a motivator for Alabama.
I think it works.
So they can walk in and say, hey, this is what I told you guys.
Yeah.
Don't listen to this crap. They're not your friend.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's
true. So now we got to go out there and punish LSU this week.
Yeah.
So we want to tell LSU, we don't want you to take this butt whooping personally.
Yeah.
Blame it on the posters who dropped us down to number 2.
Hey, with that, with Richard Pryor in a movie, they had Eddie Murphy, they had Arsenio, they had so many people. It was a fight movie. Harlem Night, yeah, and he said, don't take this butt whooping personal. That guy had a speech impediment, but it was so funny. I love Richard Pryor's movies, man, back in the day. Also, Virginia Tech 7-1 at Miami, ranked 6th in the country. Should be a decent game. Oregon on the West Coast, 5-4 at number 11 Washington. If the Pac-12 has any hope of getting into the bowl picture, Washington has to run the table with Jake Browning. Then we go back to your favorite team on the West Coast, Big C. Number 25, Arizona, 6-2. At number 10, Southern California, 7-2. That game's 10:45. ESPN2 has it. Now the Coliseum's a grass surface. USC's favored by 7 against a team that put up 59 points on Washington State and UCLA. How do they get a 7-point win against a team that scored 120 plus points, Big C, against two of the better teams they played in the Pac-12? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charles, did Sam Donald get the memo?
I don't know yet. He's about to.
Don't give up your scholarship.
Yeah. Don't give it up yet.
Desert Swarm is back.
Yeah.
You know, this is a team that is going to cause some problems in USC.
Yeah.
USC is a team right now in disarray.
Yeah.
You know, there's arrest warrant out for one of their defensive linemen who beat up a student.
Wow.
So that's going to cause some dissension within the team.
Yeah.
And look at all the injuries that they've suffered on their offensive line. They've lost 2 of their offensive linemen. They've lost a receiver.
Yeah.
You know, so lost a linebacker. This is a team right now that, you know, is in that fluctuation mode. And, you know, they're trying to fill in some gaps.
Yeah.
Arizona's a team on the rise, talking, and Rich Rodriguez has said, guys, let's just go out and have fun.
Yeah.
That's what college football is all about. When you see these teams playing uptight and tense, you know, look like they need some laxatives.
Yeah.
You know, Rich Rodriguez, you don't have that down in Arizona right now. Nobody expected anything from Arizona at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And they may have started that way. But right now, they've caught their stride. They're playing that Rich Rodriguez offense to a T.
Yep.
And when you got that speed option working, I don't care how much speed you have on defense. And
Yep.
if you don't have discipline, which we've seen USC lack that in a few games, discipline, not being able to keep contained, I don't see where this would be an upset if Arizona wins this game, Charles.
Yeah, and I agree. I think you'll see a lot of penalties being thrown on Arizona just for the sake of Southern Cal because, you know, influence has influence. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. For every sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. They cover pro teams, your collegiate teams, your high school teams, even your mom and pop soccer leagues. When you reach out to them, let them know that Big C sent you. Big C will run down the NFL in our second half of the program. The Colts 2-6 at the Texans 3-4 without Deshaun Watson. That game Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff on CBS Sports. The great Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Jamie Erdahl have the play-by-play. How will the Texans overcome the loss of what was going to be the NFL Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, and Deshaun Watson? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charles, you got to look at this from Tom Savage's perspective, okay? Tom Savage couldn't beat out Brian Hoyer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So Brian Hoyer, they let go, they bring in Brock Osweiler. He couldn't beat out Brock Osweiler.
No.
Okay?
No.
He lasted 1 quarter for 1 half with Deshaun Watson backing him up.
Yeah.
Tom Savage hasn't beaten out any quarterback since he's been with the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
All right? So he's playing by default. That's the only reason that he's playing.
Yeah.
The team can't even have confidence in him because he hasn't been able to show that he's a true leader. They may have spoke that in the preseason.
Yeah.
But they're looking at it right now. You think about Deshaun Watson, who has thrown, I believe, 17 touchdown passes this season?
19 touchdowns.
19 touchdown passes
Yeah.
prior to being hurt.
Yeah.
Okay? The Houston Texans quarterback all last season through a 16-game schedule threw 17 touchdown passes. All right?
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson in 7 games has thrown 19.
Yeah.
You had 2 quarterbacks last year through 16 games that only threw 17.
Yep.
So Tom Savage is not looking at being a world beater. I mean, if Houston wins 3 more games the rest of the season with Tom Savage, they will be lucky, Chalky.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I also want to bring up last night's game, Thursday Night Football. We said if the Jets were to beat the Bills, it would not be an upset. And the Jets are playing, I know a lot of people don't want to believe this, but the Jets are playing, if they had not been robbed by New England, you're looking at a team that should make the playoffs this year. If they keep improving, I know their games coming up are going to be very tough, but I'm just impressed with the way the Jets are playing football now. We thought New York Giants would be the team that New York would be proud of, but now they're playing like the Jets, Jets of the past. Mix of your thoughts.
Well, you got to give a lot of credit and kudos to Todd Bowles, the head coach, Dolphins.
Yeah.
You know, everybody said he was on the hot seat last year.
Yeah.
You know, he had a lot of injuries, disgruntled players that he got rid of. Todd Bowles has cleaned house in New York since he's been coached the past 2.5 seasons.
Yeah.
He has his players in place. It's like even when he signed McCown, a quarterback. They said, why are you signing a guy that's 38 years old and is playing with 17?
Yeah.
Because he needed a stabilizing quarterback. He got rid of Fitzpatrick, he got rid of Geno Smith. And so he had a guy playing quarterback that he wanted.
Yeah.
Not somebody that was in place by the franchise saying you got to play this guy.
Yeah.
And so he's got the response. Even when he brought in, Fournette. I mean, not Fournette, the kid out of Chicago, 22, the running back.
Yeah.
You know,
Fortet.
He brought in Fournette.
Yeah.
He brought him in. And you see the rejuvenation of him.
Yep.
And Chicago said his career was over. But when you look at what these Jets have done, they've been robbed in 2 games this year, Charles.
Yep.
2 games they've been robbed.
Yeah.
They should have a better record than what they have right now. They actually should be leading the AFC East.
I agree.
They have not been robbed by the officials in the league.
I agree.
At this point.
Yeah.
So Todd Bowles, you got to give him a lot of credit. You know, they talk about other coaches around the league, but when you look at a couple coaches that have done a miraculous job with their team this year, Charles, Todd Bowles is right there.
Yep.
Your guy in Pittsburgh who is there every year, Tomlin,
yep,
is there, but they don't get the praise for being super coaches, though.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Everybody else gets the praise, but they don't get any.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Big C. Look at the Bengals 3-4 at the Jaguars 4-3. That game is Sunday 1 o'clock on CBS Sports. Andrew Catalan and James Laughlin of the play-by-play. I look at Leonard Fournette and you look at Mixon, the 2 dominant running backs in this game. I guess whoever wins is going to be based on what running back has a better game, but definitely the Jaguars have a better defense, and they all also are at home, should give them the advantage over the Bengals. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you know, Jacksonville does have a tremendous defense. Blake Bortles probably had his best game as a pro last week, Charles.
Yeah.
But was that a fluke or is he going to be consistency? I'm going to go on the fluke part, Charles.
Yeah.
Because even a flying squirrel will find an acorn every now and then.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I don't see Blake Bortles being able to, you know, do that back-to-back game stuff. And, you know, if they have to lean on Fournette, who's been mixed up already here in his rookie campaign,
yeah,
because of the excessive load that he's had to carry, I think Cincinnati may be able to go into Jacksonville and sneak one out, even with that vaunted defense that Jacksonville possesses, Charles. They will get after Andy Dalton and sack him at least a half a dozen times.
Very good point. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers a little bit disappointing this season. They're 2-5 on the season. They're at the New Orleans Saints that are 5-2. That game is Sunday 1 o'clock on CBS Sports. Tom Brenneman, Chris Spielman, and Peter Shager have the play-by-play. Now, Drew Brees didn't even get a touchdown pass last week, and they got the win. I doubt if he goes 2 weeks without a touchdown pass. Your thoughts on the Buccaneers even trying to hang with New Orleans in the Dome, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, if the Buccaneers lose this game, they might as well start getting ready for draft day, okay?
Yeah.
Because their season is all over. New Orleans is one of those surprise teams that we see in the league this year, Charlton. They're at 5-2, leading their division, where everybody said, whoa, Atlanta, you know, is going to repeat. And you and I talked about it, Atlanta may end up being a 500 team at the start of the season. We had told people that.
Yeah.
And look, they haven't played much better than that this year. They lucked up against the Jets last week. And they shouldn't have won that game.
Yeah.
But right now, the New Orleans Saints, they have a running game that complements their passing game with Kamara and Ingram in the backfield, 2 SEC running backs, I might say.
Yep.
So, you know, when you look at what they've done, they got rid of all the big-name receivers. So Drew Brees has guys that are working for him living out there on the corners. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they're doing versus having guys that say, hey, I make $7 million, throw me the ball. They got guys playing for that big contract. And that's what made New Orleans a better team this year. Their defense, somebody must have gave them some Adderall because they woke them up.
That's funny.
The opposing quarterback.
Yeah, that's funny. Another team that's awakened the Giant, Big C, the sleeping Giants, the LA Rams, 5-2 on the season at the New York Giants, 1-6. That game's in the Meadowlands, and that Sunday 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox Sports. The great Kenny Albert, Ronde Barber, and Christina Pink have the play-by-play. I know we talk about giving the ball to Gurley, but this Rams defense, they're playing their best since 2003, and they've only allowed 275 yards a game and 11 points per game while recording 11 sacks and 5 interceptions. The Big C, as a defensive guy, I think they hold a lot, but they don't call it on defense. Big C, your thoughts on the Rams' resurgence on the defensive side of the football? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they've always had one of the top defensive lines in football. Last year, Aaron Donald was mixed up. He's healthy this year, and he's probably the best defensive tackle in the NFL when he's healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, other than Henderson and Jacksonville, these guys can get after the opposing quarterback. But you also got to look at the offensive side of the ball with the Rams. Todd Gurley's had 4 100-yard games this year.
Yep.
The Rams have won all 4 of those. He didn't have one last season, and we saw that dismal record that they had. Eli Manning, I mean, he's all of a sudden become Jay Cutler. I don't know if they signed or made a trade and somebody didn't tell nobody. But right now, you know, I can't really tell the difference. Eli seems interested out there.
Yeah, I think.
You know, and everybody wants to say, well, his receivers are hurt.
Yeah.
Well, you're an all-pro quarterback making $22 million.
Yeah.
I don't care who's out on the field. You're supposed to be able to get the ball to him because you have this superior, knowledge of the game and this great throwing arm.
Yeah.
You can't blame it on the offensive line every week.
Yeah.
You can't blame it on the receiving core every week. You can't blame it on the running back. Every now and then when you're looking at the Giants, you got to look at number 10 and say, he's struggling.
Yeah.
He has some problems.
Yeah. I tell you what, Big C, speaking of problems, and you brought it up, the Falcons 4-3 on this season at the Panthers 5-3. Both teams have $100 million quarterbacks. And that game Sunday, 1 o'clock on Fox Sports, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Aaron Andrews have the play-by-play. That game is going to be played in Carolina. And you think about these two great quarterbacks and two teams that have been to the Super Bowl in the last 2 seasons, Big C. Your thoughts on why both teams are struggling offensively, even though defensively they still have a lot of good talent, even though they have some injuries to overcome. Your thoughts on the Falcons at Carolina?
Well, the true reason why Carolina Panthers are struggling, Jonathan, is their offensive line. They have no offensive line and they have no running game. And think about that. You have no offensive line and no running game. Then you get rid of your best receiver.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out where you're helping out the quarterback.
No, you're not.
Then you throw them in front of the media that's like sharks every week, and you're asking the questions that a head coach should be answering.
Yeah.
All right? And you're not throwing these questions at Matt Ryan. Okay? I mean, Matt Ryan is handled with kid gloves when Atlanta has the press conference because we don't see him on SportsCenter.
Yep.
So there's no challenging questions. And I often wonder why SportsCenter keeps running Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Is it something personal? When you look at the Falcons on the other side and you look at their offense, their offense has been figured out. Make Matt Ryan throw the football.
Yeah.
And it's plain and simple. Don't let Devontae Freeman and Coleman beat you.
Yeah.
Make Matt Ryan throw the football.
Yeah.
Because he will make mistakes. He gets happy feet, and he'll start throwing the ball all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's the key to the Falcons. If the Carolina Panthers can get a consistent pass rush on Matt Ryan this week, they will win.
Yeah.
But you got to keep the ball out of Devontae Freeman's hands if you want to beat the Falcons. When you look at their victories, he's like Gurley in Los Angeles. When he's touching the ball over 20 times, Jonathan, they win.
Yeah.
But when he doesn't, they lose.
Yeah.
It's a simple formula in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Big C. A game that had so much promise when the season began, and you look at it, especially if you're looking at the Denver Broncos, with all of their success that they've had over the years, and the Broncos 3-4, and it's hard to even say that they're 3-4 after 7 games. They're at the Eagles 7-1. That game Sunday, 1 o'clock on CBS Sports. Iron Eagle, the great Dan Fouts, and Evan Washburn with the play-by-play. And I look at the Eagles, when you think about how well they're playing so far, even against the 49ers. And the injuries remain. Who's going to get hurt, we don't know. But Wentz was sacked 3 times by the 49ers defense, which is not that good of a defense. They had 6 3-and-outs. And I just want to get your thoughts on, there's a tipping point for athletes. I know Wentz has looked very good because the Phillies have a very good football team this year, the Eagles. But your thoughts on Denver with their defense going in there and playing better than they played over the last few weeks, Big C. Is that a chance, or do they also fall at Philadelphia? Your thoughts?
Well, you got a new left tackle when Peters went down in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That's the weak spot, That side gave up 2 sacks against Wentz last week, Jonathan. And I can see Von Miller spending a lot of time, maybe even renting an apartment on that side of the field during the game.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, this is a game that he should handle even the Denver vaunted defense.
Yeah.
Because he has a running game, something that leaves this defense at bay, and that's where Denver's Achilles heel is.
Yeah.
If you bring in a running game, we saw that with Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
That he was able to run on this defense, Charlton. But you look on the flip side at Denver, okay?
Yep.
This side of your ex-neighbor, Charlton, Brock Osweiler.
Oh, yeah, he still got a job. Yeah.
So, and I kind of think that they're throwing Osweiler in to either cut him or, sign him to a long-term contract. One of the two will happen after this game.
Yeah.
The Eagles can play some defense. You know where he's going to be in the pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Last week, and even in the first couple games of the season, you knew that Simeon had some mobility, okay?
Yeah.
Brock Osweiler doesn't possess that. He knows the Denver offense, but Emmanuel Sanders is not in there, so he's short a receiver, Charlton.
Yeah.
This is a game that Philly should win handily, and Denver shouldn't look any better than what they did last week against Kansas City.
That's a very good point, Big C. Another big game coming up for both teams. The Ravens 4-4 at the Titans 4-3. Sunday, 1 o'clock on CBS Sports. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon have the play-by-play. Now, Baltimore had the 49ers shutout over the Dolphins, but that's more because the Dolphins aren't that good of a team. And you look at the Titans, even without Mariota, they just seem that I don't know what to say about these two teams. They have injuries at both positions. All of them seem to be banged up this time of year. But your thoughts on the fickle Ravens going in and beating Tennessee in a team that they probably should win, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, it's all about the quarterback position in this game, Charlton. Will Flacco play after suffering that concussion a couple of weeks ago on Thursday night? Will Mariota have enough to come off the bench and get out on the field and take some snaps? We know that Tennessee has a dominant running game, but that's also Baltimore's strong suit is their defensive front seven. And so this is an evenly matched game. It's going to come down to the quarterback position. If Flacco can play and get some balls down the field deep, it gives Baltimore a better chance.
Yeah.
Because Tennessee doesn't have a backup quarterback, Charlton. They got some guys on the roster, but they don't have a backup quarterback.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. I look at another team, and it's still they have Garoppolo, but they won't play him. The Cardinals 3-4, at the 49ers 0-8. If any time you want to get more than 40,000 people to show up at your 70,000 seat stadium, you'd think this kid that everybody's been saying, even though he can't start at New England, he's going to be the prodigal savior for the 49ers. But they're saying they don't want to play Garoppolo now. The Cardinals coming in there, Parman had the broken arm. It seems like a who's who against the 49ers. Both teams need duct tape to hold their players together. But I want to get your thoughts on, will this be the first win for the 49ers? I don't see it, but also the Cardinals are banged up too, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, didn't the management sent out a flyer last week that asked the fans were winning? Didn't tell them that winning wasn't important? So they told the fans that they're not trying to win a game this year. I mean, and I don't know how Goodell could stand by and witness that. I know they talked in the NBA last year about teams tanking and firing them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the situation we're looking at the NFL right now. We got the 49ers intentionally tanking the system. I never thought I'd see that in professional football. It is an embarrassment, and I'm sad that the other media outlets don't talk about that.
Yeah.
That you have a professional organization in football intentionally tanking the season, trying to better their draft prospects, Charlton.
Well,
but this is a game that you got C.J. Beathard playing quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not playing in the Big 12, Big 15, whatever that conference is out there. In the Big 12.
Yeah.
He's not playing in that.
Right.
He's playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then we got, I think J.P. Lawson playing for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
We have two pro teams. It might even be your boy Blaine Gabbert. He may get the start.
Yeah.
But you got two pro teams with no quarterback starting the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
How do you start a pro football game on Sunday in the year 2017 in the month of November without an NFL starting quarterback on either team?
Yeah, that they'll try to figure it out. We'll find out on Sunday. All the 38,000 that'll be there in attendance. The Washington Redskins 3-4. You like that? You like that? With a great Kirk Cousins, $100+ million quarterback at the Seattle Seahawks 5-2. And if you saw how they performed against Deshaun Watson, they'll never see another quarterback like Deshaun Watson coming there since Kaepernick's not in the league either. But a Sunday game at 4:05 kickoff on Fox Sports, Kevin Burkhardt, the great Charles Davis, and the inimitable Pam Oliver with the play-by-play. I look at Seattle and so much praise they had for Deshaun Watson out of Houston. I don't think they'll see the same kind of quarterback in Kirk Cousins coming up there in the great Northwest. Big C, your thoughts on Seattle with that great 12th man? It's very difficult to win up there. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, everybody raised on the game that, Deshaun Watson had. Look at what Russell Wilson did, Charlton. He had his best game as a pro, 450 yards passing, 2 touchdown passes, Charlton. Ran for over 30 yards. Wheeled his team to a victory in the waning seconds, Charlton.
Yeah.
Drove him down the field about 90 yards for the game-winning touchdown. This is a quarterback that has grown up, and this year he's healthy.
Yep.
Now, if you recall last year, the first 6-7 games, he wore a heavy knee brace and was hobbled.
Yeah.
He didn't have that mobility. But now he has a receiving core, and that linebacking core in Seattle, Charlton, is one of the top 2 or 3 linebacking cores in the NFL, and they can get after the passer with that front 4 that they have.
Yeah.
Now, your cousin playing quarterback on the other team.
Yeah.
There's some question marks about it. That ever since you made that "How do you like me now" statement,
yeah,
and
you
I
like
always
that.
thought that was a commercial that I saw on TV. How do you like me now?
Yeah, that's
but,
true.
I mean, he has no receiving cores. We talk about his tight end. Reed is his best receiver who can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
You look at him, he get hurt. Vernon Davis, who was an ancient tight end who was having a heck of a year, comeback year.
Yeah.
But his wide receivers, Aaron Pryor's out there crying, Josh Dobson. Sometimes can't catch a cold sitting in the freezer on a block of ice. Okay?
That's true.
So,
That's true.
you know, this is the thing. That offensive line is banged up.
Yeah.
I don't give Washington any chance in this game. Let's be realistic. Kirk Cousins will get another big paycheck this week.
Yeah.
But I don't give Washington any chance in this game.
Another game I want to take it way across the country to the south. I have the Raiders 3-5 at the Dolphins 4-3. That game is Sunday 8:30 on NBC Sports with the great Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya. And the Raiders, all their great feelings about that 4 touchdowns in the last 5 seconds against the Chiefs are over, Big Z, because they went on the road and laid an egg at Buffalo, 34-14. A blowout loss for the Raiders, was unacceptable, really. And they turned the ball over 4 times. The defense gave up 4.5 yards per rush. And your thoughts at the Dolphins? The only good thing for the Raiders, they're playing a sleepy quarterback in Cutler and a team in the Dolphins that don't have a giant. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, we can only hope for the 1977 AFC Championship game.
Oh, yeah.
They played there in Oakland with Kenny Stabler, throwing that late touchdown.
Sea of hands.
With Clarence Davis in there.
Yep.
Going to the end zone, beating the linebacker and Bob Swift out
the sea of hands, yep.
But, we don't have those Raiders and we don't have those Dolphins any longer, Charlton. Right now, we have the Raiders with a team with a lost identity.
Yeah.
Carr is up and down. Their defense just can't figure things out, Charlton. And they signed Marshawn Lynch to take some pressure off of Derek Carr.
Yeah.
But they forgot to put a running game into the offense to hand the ball off. So, Amari Cooper has not developed into that speedy wideout that Cliff Branch used to be, Charlton.
Yeah.
He's undependable. Michael Crabtree is not getting the ball as much. They can figure out they can double up Michael because nobody else can hurt him.
Yeah.
So this is a game right now that the Raiders should win going across the country after that dismal performance that the Dolphins laid in Baltimore last week.
Yeah.
But they got to hope that it's not raining down there also, because if it rains and it's a muddy field, the Dolphins will beat the Raiders.
You see 2 more games left in the slate. We're going to jump to Monday night, then I'll come back and get your thoughts on the last game. The Lions 3-4 at the Packers 4-3. That's Monday night on ESPN at 8:30 kickoff. Sean McDonough, John Gruden, and the great Lisa Salters with the play-by-play. Detroit had 182 yards and his 20-15 loss to the Steelers. And not too many people paid attention because they're watching the World Series. And then Matthew Stafford posted another 400-yard passing game. But that doesn't matter when you're not winning. And I want to get your thoughts. We know Brett Hundley is going to be leading the Packers. Your thoughts on the Lions. Can they beat the Pack when the Pack are also banged up? But it is at Lambeau Field where they're always very tough to beat. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, we saw Hundley last week. Charlton couldn't muster 100 yards in the air in his first NFL start.
Yeah.
So, the Packers are going to have to give him a lot of support, in this coming game. They're going to have to develop the running game against the Lions. You can't sit there and, worry about going to beat the Lions through the air. They're going to have to beat the Lions on the ground. They're going to have to go back to that old Vince Lombardi style of football.
Yeah.
And Matthew Stafford, if he loses this game, he's in that Kirk Cousins neighborhood. He's going to have to explain to managers why they're paying him all this money.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You gotta ask the question. Okay, you're making $25 million a year, Matt. All right, can we get a win?
How's it helping our team?
That's the win. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't play defense, but the guy, they're up against it. They're playing at Lambeau Field. Now, the last game I want to cover, because I hear Jerry Jones lost a lot of money and he's not too happy with it. I guess he owns a couple of pizza places. He should spend more time focusing on pizza or football. He's going to have to make a choice. Does he like pizza or does he like the Cowboys? A big game, the Chiefs 6-2 at the Cowboys 4-3. That game is Sunday, 4:25 p.m. kickoff on CBS Sports. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, who's going to tell us what play we're going to see before we see the play, Big C. I think they like that kind of broadcast at CBS Sports for some reason. The Chiefs are among the AFC's elite based on their top offense because Alex Smith's completing about 73% of his passes. And you look at their running back, Kareem Hunt, leads the league in rushing at 763 yards. The Cowboys get to play against the Chiefs defense, which ranks near the bottom in the league against the run. Something has to give. Ezekiel Elliott is going to play. Your thoughts, Jerry Jones losing money on his pizza stock, or will he care more about the Dallas Cowboys winning, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Ezekiel only got another injunction, Dolphin.
Yeah.
And where he's going to be active again this week in the NFL. Last week he had his best game of the season, against your cousin there in Washington.
Yeah.
So, this is a game that the Dallas Cowboys sorely need.
Yeah.
Their team is, 3-3 right now?
Well, 4-3 right now. 4-3
on the season.
Yeah.
They could have been 4-3 without Ezekiel, and they could have just spun in suspension.
Yeah.
He's going to end up getting suspended and miss the playoffs. That's where the league is going to get him, because Roger Goodell is not going to back off, even with the threats of Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
He's not going to back off this issue. He's going to be in court every week trying to get an injunction on this scenario. But, I like the Kansas City Chiefs' position right now.
Yeah.
Really, they're playing tremendous football. They showed last week in Denver that they have some stalwarts on defense, as well as Dallas does.
Yep.
Dallas is without John Lee in this game at linebacker. Kansas City wins this game easily because they can have talent, but they don't have what Sean Lee brings to the field. He's the Luke Kuechly in Dallas.
Yeah.
This guy understands he's a great quarterback on defense. So Dallas really needs him to keep the thing going. Everybody talks about their offense and their offensive line, but without Sean Lee, Dallas is just a mediocre defense.
Well, Big C, a lot of good football coming up with college football tonight with UCLA at Utah. Also Saturday, a lot of big games that we already covered. And then the NFL is back because the World Series is over. Congratulations to the Houston Astros bringing your first championship to the great state of Texas. Big C, back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Bondini Brown. He was Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, let me explain something to you, Charlton. Colin Kaepernick will not go away. Today, his attorney subpoenaed several NFL owners, including Jerry Jones and Bob McNair.
Good.
For their text records, their email records, and their phone records.
Yes.
Okay? To build a case of collusion. The last thing that the NFL wants to be is in court disclosing what they have as an interest. Let me give you another scenario on that. Thomas Benson, owner of the New Orleans Saints, back last summer settled a lawsuit with his family because in this law proceeding, they had to do financial disclosure.
Wow.
The NFL is willing to settle lawsuits when it comes down to disclosing where they are financially. So if it gets to the point of them having disclosed their financial records in the court case with Colin Kaepernick, they will settle and give him anything that he asks for.
Well, I tell you, he's fighting the cause for people. He's fighting the cause for people who can't fight for themselves. Discrimination is wrong no matter who you are. And as they also said, that good old boy back in the day, Judge Wapner, take him to court. And you can take him to court every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys down south. We always want to tell you, there's never, ever any reason for domestic violence. If you know any woman going through that garbage, just call 911 because no woman should have to go through it all on her own. And as we tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.